We are good to go. Brashams?
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما.
Auzubillahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah for sparing our lives and giving us another opportunity to witness another episode of OU Who Believe, a program of Old Kent Road Mosque. We are sorry, accept our apologies for starting late today. We just have a little bit of technical glitches. So, as I was saying, we thank Almighty Allah for sparing our lives and giving us another opportunity today. My name is Falela Tulubumi Alabi, and I am excited to welcome you to tonight's episode. Alhamdulillah, we are on episode 220. Wow, time has gone so far. So before we start tonight's episode, I just want to read some announcements that we have. The Qadr Hasanat campaign is still ongoing. Please do a business with Allah and contact the Honorable President and Professor Badiri or Imam Salami if you want to give us a loan. And I'd like to congratulate the management and everyone on OU Who Believe for winning the award of the London Dangor Awards in the health and well-being category. So say well done to every one of us. Also, I want to use this opportunity to thank our family and friends from the Araman Mosque for giving us the space for us to continue our markers, because we will soon be moving out of our present location. So we are moving to a nearby site for our normal Dikre, normal Asalatu every Sunday. But the markers will inshallah continue at Araman Mosque, inshallah. And we will give you further details as they become available. So at the end of this year, inshallah, we'll be moving to our new site. Before I bore you with more announcements, I'd like to call on one of our Markaz students to please give us the opening recitation from the Holy Quran. Assalamu alaikum, Naima Shahib. Naima Shuaib, please. Yes.
Naima, if you are there, you can raise your hand so that we can put you on the panelists, please.
I've not seen her on the panelists, so maybe one of our sheikhs will bail us out so that we will not delay the program. Bismillah, Brother Shams.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق السبع السماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فتور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر حاسها وهو حسير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيها وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah accept it as act of ibadah. Thank you so much for bailing us out, Brother Shams. I know I can always count on you. Now, before I hand over to our father, Professor Mashood Baderi, I just want to tell us that we are in need of volunteers. Please volunteer your time. We have been given opportunities to collect money from mosque, maybe during their Juma program or their normal Dhikri As-Salatu program. So please volunteer your time so that you can help us to collect this money. Please see Brother Amode if you are interested in this, or speak to the Imam, inshallah. And I now hand over to our father, Professor Mashood Baderi, to continue the program. Bismillah, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Our father, Professor Mashood Baderi, is not, he will be joining us shortly. So I am not that person you are expecting. And I'm too small to stand in his feet, in his shoes. However, I've been asked to just hold on just for a couple of minutes for him to get here. So inshallah, we start today's program. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I want to thank our sister Adia Falila Talabi for starting us up today on the 220th edition of our program, Oh You Will Believe. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Allah has granted us the opportunity to be here today to witness yet another occasion where we will be addressed by some of our friends and colleagues, teachers and mentors. So today we have, the program is divided into two. I believe, according to the advert that went out, Ajia Rashida Hassan Ramadan, I believe she will be doing a short presentation. She'll be doing a short presentation on what employers are looking for. I believe this is a public service announcement or a public service presentation that Ajia Ramadan will be treating us to. This is something you actually pay a lot of professionals to do for you, to help you, to show you how to improve your career. As Muslims, our deen is a way of life. That means that every aspect of our living is controlled, or we have recommendation on how to live it the best. In fact, the surah we recited at the beginning, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. Allah is actually the one that creates the living, that creates death and living so that He can test us. Allah is the one that has given us opportunity to live our life to the fullest, while at the same time, whether we are holding on to worshiping Him and serving humanity as He has intended for us to do as the vicegerent on earth. So I'm going to take a sit back so that we can listen to Ajia Ramadan. After that, we have a panel of discussion that will be talking to us about bereavement. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, we've had some bereavement in the community recently, and we believe that it is an opportunity for us to understand bereavement, and perhaps it might help one or two people to go through what they are going through. You might benefit from this session, inshallah. Please, before I hand over, please make sure you invite your families and friends, send a message to them, let them know that OU Will Believe is live. We'll be talking about career, we'll be talking about bereavement, and this will surely benefit you all. So, inshallah, Ajia Ramadan, Sister Rashida, you are still muted. Please, take us through your presentation today. You have about 10 minutes or 15?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Bismillah.
Thank you very much, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank you for giving me the 10 minutes, this very short time. It looks like it's short, but I hope, inshallah, that whatever we're able to talk about will be of benefit to every one of us, and inshallah, Allah will bless our time together. So I'm here today not as a member of the OU Will Believe team, but here as an entrepreneur and somebody who is into the job of helping people to look for jobs. And I'll start off by first introducing what I do. This is like my day job. I presently manage an organization called Dean Consult Services. And what Dean Consult Services does is in two folds. We are into staffing and recruitment, and we are also into media content production and distribution. But today, specifically, I will be sharing some of the things I have learned being in that role, and as well as talking from my lived experience. So to start off, Dean Consult, why did we set up Dean Consult? I am sure, like, I have my lived experience. Everyone on this call would have their lived experience. Alhamdulillah, majority of us are migrants. I'm sure we have a lot of people who are also maybe not migrants, but a lot of us are migrants in the UK. And we all know what it is like when you move from one place to the other, and when you now need to, one of the most important priority you would have is how to keep your livelihood. And then there is also going to be that desire to have job satisfaction. there is that desire to also progress in life. But what we find is a lot of time when people, you know, get out there into the world to try and make ends meet, they are met with challenges, especially when you are coming into a new environment. And particularly here in the UK in recent time, we've had a lot of migration. In Nigeria, we all hear about Japa. Japa has an impact in Nigeria, and Japa also has an impact in the countries that the people go to. So, you know, there is a lot of people there that are people who feel that there is a lot of job opportunity out there to grab, a lot of ways to earn income, but you come here and you start facing a lot of reality. And then that is why particularly I wanted to have this conversation today and to share with you what we are doing to address some of those concerns. Now, one thing that is very common amongst us as a people is that we place a lot of emphasis on the culture of paper qualification. I mean, if you want to ask, we all want to say, yes, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, I'm that. But in the long run, it all boils down to when you have all these qualification, what do we want to do with them? First, we want to be able to maintain our daily bread. We want to be able to provide for our family. And when we now go out to look for jobs to do this, what are the employers, the people that are going to give us these jobs, what are they looking for? Gone are those days when paper qualifications is all that your employer is looking for. Gone are those days when you say, just because I'm a doctor, I cannot work as an administrator. Just because I'm an administrator, I cannot one day feel like, oh, I really have a passion for medicine and I want to go into medicine. These days, people are practically able to change careers, to change what they do and the way they earn their living. However, some of us, particularly when we come to new environment, we become stuck in that we have this qualification and we feel whatever we do must be according to the qualification we have. These days, there is much more emphasis on delivery of task, on skills than on paper qualification. So as a community, how are we going about, ensuring that the people around us, our children, our friends, our families are also, getting that satisfaction of getting jobs that are paying, and not only paying, but that gives them that they are qualified to do. So at Dean Consult Service, our concentration actually is helping and supporting people into jobs. And one of the ways that we do this is we work with people to look at their qualification, look at their skills, and look at what skills they can develop to actually get the kind of roles that are suitable to them and that will give them the job satisfaction as well as the kind of earning that will allow them to live in dignity. So in reality, there is a change in the job market scope. So the fact that you've had this qualification, this training as maybe a first degree, second degree, does not necessarily mean that it is that particular role that you would work in or that would give you sustainability. And that's why you find out here now in recent time where you talk about healthcare workers, especially when the the healthcare visa route was introduced in the UK, you find that there are a lot of people, computer scientists, accountants, doctors, even lawyers, who are coming into the country and are working as healthcare workers. And the question now is, and in the same way, it has become problematic because there are people who just, put together this CV, probably just go and do one training or the other, and they put them on their CVs to ensure that they can claim that they are qualified to do the role. Then they get on the job and then they start having challenges. They're not doing what they should do. And as somebody who has worked closely with organizations that run such businesses, I can say with authority that a lot of organizations have had to either close down, they have had to get into trouble because they have employed people who do not have the right skills and who probably on paper have claimed that they have skills that they don't have, and then they put the organization into trouble. And that is why most healthcare organizations that spring up in the wake of the sponsorship licenses have now closed down, and you now have a lot of people without jobs whose licenses to work in the UK have been revoked, and they're out there. They're not able to get other jobs. The people that are providing them the job previously don't have jobs now because even their companies have been closed down, which is why for us at Dean Consult, we are working with people to ensure that if you want, there is nothing wrong with having a career change. There is nothing wrong with wanting to do a role that probably you were not originally trained for. But there are trainings, there are certifications, there are experiences that we can try to get that would help you to be able to get the roles that are adequate for you and also deliver on those roles. So it's very, very important that when you are trying to look for a job, you're trying to have a career change or anything, you are ensuring that what you're doing is what you can deliver, that you can deliver on. And then there is the workplace culture. A lot of people who, a lot of people who came into the UK are now trying to get into jobs or trying to get into one role or the other are not, they don't have the right workplace culture. Just because, a lot of us where we're coming from, we are relaxed about our jobs. It's not like there is the amount of ethics that we put into practice is quite, insignificant to the quality of what you will find in places, especially like the UK. So it's very important that when you're trying to get a job, you try to understand what are the workplace culture, what are the culture in workplaces. For instance, I was talking to some of the people I work with. I said, whenever you want to go out and get yourself a cup of tea, just try and ask people around that you work in the same office together. Oh, do you want a cup of tea so that when I'm coming back, I can, get it for you? That breeds like comradeship. It encourages teamwork. Now, this is so insignificant, but these are things that we need to understand in terms of, when we want to go into work and we don't get there and people see us and not being competent, not having the right kind of attitude, or and when they start complaining, it looks like they're picking on us, whereas the main issue is that we have not developed the right attitude to the work. And then in most workplace, there is competitiveness, that there is that challenge to do better than the other. Now, it doesn't have to mean that you are working to bring down one person or the other. It's just challenging yourself to do as well as the other person. And sometimes it looks like it's a competition, but actually it's a healthy challenge. So we must always strive to make sure that whatever we do, we put our best to it. And then one important thing that we all seem to I've noticed, I'm talking based on the, because as a staffing and recruitment organization, we deal with a lot of CVs, people submit their CVs, their qualification. And what I have found, particularly with people from our community, is that they can apply to 2-3 different jobs, and for each of those 2-3 different jobs that have different specification and different job description, they would submit the same CV. So you cannot submit the same CV for your role as a writer and submit the same CV for a role as an healthcare assistant, or submit the same CV to work as an accountant. You see that it doesn't match. So a lot of time, our people, when we're looking for jobs, we do not look at our CV and ensure that our CV is tailored to the specific role we are applying to. So it's very important matching the skills that are required in the particular role that we are looking to apply to. And then, once we are able to do that, and we must never forget this, I like to say it, qualify before you apply. So if you're going to, if you're thinking of applying for a particular role, you need to know what are the requirements for that role. What can you do to ensure that you meet up with the skills? So if your skills at the time you were thinking of going for that role does not match what is required, then I think it's very important that you take a step back and try to develop your skills before you now apply for such a role. And also we should try to be problem solvers. That is, people who we are not just looking to get a job or we're not just looking to apply for a role. We are making sure that there is something we're going to be bringing into that role, into whatever a job we want to. When people see you as a problem solver, somebody who understands the need of the job and who is ready to address those needs, then definitely it's easier for you to get the job. And then communication is key, and that will be the last one. I can see that Brother Shams is trying to tell me to shoo off, but then I'll just say this last one. Communication is key. We have to express. A lot of time we don't express ourselves correctly, whereas when we are looking for a job, people want to be sure that the person who is applying to this role understands it and can communicate. It's good to be, humble, but we don't have to be unduly shy in expressing ourselves, maybe at interviews or, any setting where people can actually assess us and know whether they wanted to give us the job. Our body language, and of course, like I said, your CV. Make sure you do due diligence. Your CV is, tailored to the role that you want to apply for. And at Dean Consult Services, these are the things that we support anybody. We are very focused on our communities, especially Black communities, but we generally support anyone looking for a role and who wants us to support them into getting their next job. Thank you very much. Sorry, I ran over by 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adia. That was splendid. Alhamdulillah, you talked about work ethics, you spoke about personal work ethics and the work ethics within the workplace and the values we have to bring to the marketplace to make us valuable. And so excellent. Thank you very much for that. I'm sure there will be questions. If anyone has questions, then you put it on the Q&A side, or you raise your hand and we'll call you to ask Aja Rashida Hassan the questions. Before we go on to the next segment to talk about bereavement, let's take a very short interlude break. Just a moment, please. Okay.
The urgent need to cater for our fast-growing community of mosque users. The belief in Allah's promise to reward every effort towards the building of a mosque with paradise, and our commitment to the next generation of believers informed our decision to start the rebuild by pulling down the 100-year-old building. Now was the time to have a brand new purpose-built 6-story Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Centre, strategically sited here in London. Join us on this journey of faith by donating and encouraging others to do the same. You can pay in any currency. May Allah bless you abundantly. Ameen.
Thank you very much, the back office, for that interlude. So I want to introduce this next segment. We'll be taking questions for the first segment and the second segment when we have them. So please stay on standby, Ramadan, for us. So I want to start this segment by first encouraging us to make dua for one of our very, very active member, a fundraiser for our mosque rebuild project, Ajia Alhaja Basirat Apanitira, who passed away in Medina while she was undertaking Umrah just a few days ago. May Allah forgive her. May Allah bless her soul. May Allah accept her soul. May Allah accept all our works. May Allah grant her the level of the pious Muslims. And I want all of us to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, and the benefit should go to her and all of our beloved relatives who have also passed away. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Amen. So the family of Alhaja Alapatira will be going through the process of bereavement. There are many people who think they understand what bereavement is. What does someone who whose relative has passed on, what are they going through? Many of us might think we know it. I can tell you, you don't know it unless you have the experience. You don't know what someone who has lost a beloved relative, you don't know what they go through until you have that personal experience. And look, it also depends on the relationship. So, okay, who is this person that has passed on? So who is suffering the bereavement? Who's going through the bereavement? Okay, if it is a distant uncle, it's a different sort of emotions compared to if it is a blood parent or sibling. And so it's a painful time, and we want to understand this. So to help us today, I've got a panel that will help us consider some of the issues here. And we'll go around them, and I'll first start with Alhaji Imam Hussein Ajikole, the Amir and founder of Al-Mohsinun Islamic Center in Manchester. He's one of our in-house scholar, so he will be supporting us in this discussion today. I also have Al-Haji Abdurrahman Amode, who is the welfare officer for the Muslim Association of Nigeria, UK. We also have our own Imam Tajuddin Salami, who has spent a long time, leading the what we call the missioners, the scholars in the Open Road, and they've passed around. They've dealt with so many sort of bereavement, and so we'll be counting on Imam Tajuddin's experience today. We also have Dr. Hamza Dawood, an academician and a community leader. Also have Ajia Mokat Ibrahim. She's a qualified integrated therapist, a counselor, who will also be sharing thoughts and experience, as well as she's a student of Islamic knowledge. Finally, I've got Dr. Musa Abdurrahim, the head of Markaz and an Imam. He is also here to share with us his thoughts on this subject matter. So, briefly, I would want each of our scholars and guests to spend just 1 minute to tell us what bereavement really means in their own personal experience. Imam Ajikunle, I'll start with you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll use a couple of seconds of my 1 minute to commiserate with our mother, our friend, and a fundraiser, Alaja Alakpatira. We have no doubts in our minds that inshallah she's going to be accepted into Allah's rahmah, and that the questioning, Allah will make it easy for her, and all of the deeds that she's done, that Allah will accept them as act of devotion and will overlook her shortcomings, make her questioning easy, illuminate her grave, and on the day of Qiyamah, we ask Almighty Allah to raise her among the pious servants of His who are already inhabitants of the highest place in Jannah. Allahumma Ameen. I joined Brother Shams, our moderator tonight, and in saying another Kulu Allah for Alaja and for the rest of our beloved ones that we have lost over the time. Bismillah, Kulu Allah, Had al-Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad, wa Lam Yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. That is 5 seconds gone out of my being mindful of time, because we have quite a number of people who have been expected to make 1 or 2 contributions. And it's a good thing that I'm speaking first. Otherwise, it's in the middle of something that I had to just quickly come in here. And I may just be able to listen for the remainder of the program and not be able to make any further contribution. Whether we know it, it's part of our existence. It's part of our existence. Death is nothing. Bereavement is nothing but something that we already are familiar with, because Allah said it will happen. There's none better in speech than Almighty Allah, who will make it to come. It will make it to whatever He says will come to pass. And He has prepared our minds and our souls, and He's prepared us psychologically to get ready, because these things will happen. There's nobody who's born who will not go back. Going back in everything. And that's the reality of our existence. And we have to constantly wake up, go to bed, thinking about when they are asked Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which of the believers is the wisest? And he says it's the one who is constantly thinking about this and is being guided towards it. He walks towards it because he knows it will happen. As much as we know it will happen, when it does happen, it comes with a shock. And this is why we have to, as a community, develop a robust support system to be, in the company of the person who's suffering. We will rally around, pray, we remember, and let them know that it's a critical and time period for them. Critical in the sense that it's a total breakdown of so many things in the family and people around them. So aside from commiserating with them, praying for them, we have to also let them know that we empathize. We know how they feel. We don't necessarily have to get there before we know how it pinches. Allah mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَا نَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. I'm citing this, so it's going to be like a platform for any other. You can't be talking about it without talking about what Allah has mentioned about that. And this is where I would finish my 1 minute. I've been, done the translation where Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, verse 1155, 155. Surely we will test you with a bit of fear and hunger and loss in wealth and lives and fruits, and give tidings to the patient. Either Alladina either Asobati or Musibatun, who when it's sovereign visits them, what they say is we certainly belong to Allah, and to Him we are bound to return. With this, I say to the family of Alaja Patera, that Allah would be with and will see through this try moment. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam. Sorry, forgive me. I saw surname is Akpatira, not Alakpatira. Okay. So thank you. I want to go on to Dr. Dawood Hamza. What are your first general thoughts on bereavement?
I think it went off the board.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
wabarakatuh. I think I want to remember that one of the common saying of our elders say that death is the best reminder of the actual nature of our living in this world. Because Salah says, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. It's an experience that Allah has destined everybody to have. So our sister, our mother, that Allah has taken his life now, so it's a kind of transitions from one state to another. So we hope that Allah has rested his soul in perfect peace. So, and we pray that Almighty Allah will overlook our shortcomings and grant consolation to the family and the entire Muslim Ummah. So again, there is no need for talking too much about it because we are living by it. So what we have to be doing is to be praying to Almighty Allah, give us courage to be able to prepare for it. So, and then so that at the end of the day, we have every cause to thank Almighty Allah. I want to remember a saying of one of our scholars, say that Alama Jalli Khaira Ayami Yom Alqa Fi, which means that, oh Allah, make my best day to be the day I will meet you. I pray that Almighty Allah will make our best day the day we meet Almighty Allah. How is that going to be? That is, if we end up in La ilaha illallah, I think that is the best achievement in this world. May Allah give us ability to that, have ultimate successful achievement.
Amen.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much. I will quickly move on to Brother Alhaji Abdurrahman Amode for your own initial thoughts on this. You'll take 2 minutes since others have taken 2 minutes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
First of all, I'd like to express our condolence with the family of Alaja Masira Batara Melmachala Fugiva, Meke Basa, rest in peace, Agiba Jannah Fridaus. Regarding the bereavement, when the family called us at the Orchid Road as a welfare officer, we actually advise the family in terms of, the funeral directors and how to pick up the body. And then after that, we actually arrange the burial with the communal park or garden of peace for burial family. And then we advise the family to get green papers or death certificate. Because without those two, there will not be any burials or any other thing cannot take place after that. Then after all these are done and then the burial is actually been arranged, what we advise is we mobilize people to attend the burials. And after that, sometimes they come back to the mosque to do the prayer for the deceased, if the family wishes, or they arrange another day. Now, as soon as we hear the news about the burial, we actually mobilize people to visit the family, at home, and then in individuals or as a group. And then we also organize a group visit, which is a community visit as well, to see the family. And then after that, then we ask people, to do a kind of follow-up. We ring the family to arrange, and then we, kind of arrange some kind of gift or other things, for the family. And apart from that, if you find out that it's a family that is lonely, then we often get in touch with them and their member and the family member, as to what they, want us to do in terms of how they arrange for the food and all other things as well, and their well-being as well, And then when my own brother passed away in September, the family actually came as well and visit us. So the president was there, a member of the community as well, visited, including the welfare team and the whole community as a whole. And this is how we do at the whole country to visit.
Thank you very much for that practical approach that you have started. I'll come back to you on that, since you seem to have enumerated the step-by-step of how the community takes care and provide the support. So Mama Ajikunle started off by saying it is the natural part of our life. It always comes as a shock, and that's why in Islam, they encourage the community to give us the support to prevent us from breaking down completely. Dr. Hamzat then said that, look, that is actually a reminder of our purpose in life, of what we're here to do, and that we should actually endeavor to pray for Allah to make the best of our days the day that we depart and meet our Lord. So you have now gone to tell us the step-by-step of how the community does it. I want to go to Ajia Mokat. Ibrahim, what are the stages that a person goes through, or how should a person deal with bereavement from a personal point of view? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So because we're speaking about bereavement, I will move away from death that has happened. So bereavement is really about the living, and I'll just put something on the, so that I will not waste. I'll just put something on this thing for all of us to see on the chart about what bereavement is, and I'm not sure, has it come true?
Yeah.
So sorry, I can't see it. That's why. So about that is actually defining what bereavement is and what family members of the bereaved go through, which is something that it is in my perception and in my experience is the period of grief and mourning that someone goes through after losing a loved one. It is emotional and it is an emotional and physical process of coping with the pain of loss, which can include feelings of sadness, anger, and confusion, as well as adjustments to life without the person who has passed away. We cannot imagine these feelings that you've mentioned. Okay, when the person is angry, how do they exhibit that anger? How do they relate to people around them? How do people around them see them at that time? If it's if they are expressing that sense of loss, the sadness, how do they cope? And then when you're confused, you can do anything. You may want to go to Manchester and find yourself in London in that state of confusion. Things happen. So how do people adjust? How can we support them? I think this is how I'm looking at this particular topic that we're discussing. It's about no longer about the dead, but actually about the living. And sometimes you find out that people will sit down, and when they come to the counseling room, for instance, they will say, 6 months on, they will say, no, my person did not die. I think there was just a theory. This person did not die. They couldn't have died. So denial comes into it as well. So how do we deal with things like this? How do somebody comes and talks about, oh, my mother died 30 years ago, and somebody said, but that was a long time ago. Does it ever go away? How do people around us, how do we respond to those who have been bereaved or who still speak about something and we think, oh, time ought to have healed the wound? Or we say the things we see around them, like amongst our communities where men are not, they are people of no emotions, they don't show any emotions. There should be obini. Why are you behaving like a woman? Are you a man? Man up. What's that? What does that mean? Whatever we lose when we are bereaved is irreplaceable. And there are also stages where in life we feel, maybe especially if the person has been very ill, the person who is bereaved has a sense of relief. And they begin to feel guilty for having that sense of relief that, after all, I can now rest. I mean, these are very, very valid feelings that we have, because it can be very, very difficult to take care of somebody who is ill. Sometimes we say that the person who is being taken care of, who's taking care of the ill, even has more illness, things to manage. So then sometimes too, we have the feeling of, there are things that were unsaid. We had things that would have guilt, another guilt of, did I do enough? Or there were things between us that we did not address. What happens to us? Is the future bleak? The issues like inheritance comes into it, the children, who looks after who, and all of that, etc., etc. I hope that suffices for now.
Thank you very much, Ajia. Yes, that suffices. We'll definitely be coming back to you. Is Imam Tajuddin here? Dr. Musa, is Dr. Musa here?
Neither.
Okay. So we need to be rounding up. If there's any, I think there's one question. I'll come back to it. But just quickly, any of the panelists, how do you think someone can balance their faith with the painful loss? What should we say to someone who is experiencing, as Ajia Muka said now, a lot of pain, sadness, denial, and all that? How do we then encourage them to still maintain their faith? Can one of you speak to this, please? Ustaz Wale Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll start with what shouldn't be said, what shouldn't be done. First is that a bereaved person may not be able to attend normally to all the calls, all the contact and attempt to console them. So we as community members should not pick up quarrels with them. Oh, she is ignoring me. I was trying to reach out to her, to him, and it's like, I'm not welcome. No, that is not the time for us to pick up any quarrel with them. That is one. Secondly, what should we do? We should put ourselves in their places. We should wear their shoes and also know the difference between empathy and sympathy. When you feel for someone, it's far different from when you are saying, oh, sorry. And that word, sorry for your loss, sometimes it can be distancing. When you say, sorry for your loss, it's not my loss, I'm not concerned, it's your loss. It's an expression that is allowed, but sincerely speaking, it may also touch, pull a wrong string in the bereaved. The best is to connect them to Allah, is just to make them realize that it is nothing but a reunion with Allah, the source of our being. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for that. It's a source of our pain. That source of our pain is a reunion with Allah. Ajia Mokat, your hand is up. Bismillah.
Well, Barawale almost took it out of me. Yeah, what not to say, but then what to say. You might not even have to say anything. Just be present in their lives. And do not undermine or dismiss their feelings. It's really important that we don't dismiss people's feelings. It's important that whatever they say, even if we don't understand it, we keep quiet and try to understand it. We could also ask them, well, how can I help you? What can I do? How can I help to make this better? You know, it's not that, by the way, I was going to call you, there was an outing, but you know, with the way you are feeling, you know, I didn't call you, it has happened. You've put them back in the corner, you've put them back in a box. So we don't do that. It's what we can offer. And we do not actually undermine what they're going through. If they're angry, let us know why they're angry. They need help. People want to sort out things. People need help to call their office. People need help with their children's school. People need help. And you know, the fact that sometimes some of us say, oh, this person was not a Muslim, it's irrelevant. Because we have people around us too. We have people at work. We are employees and we are also employers. It's a holistic thing. So we have to look at it holistically. Pain is pain. The color of our blood is red. So we feel pain, and pain does not have a particular space in our body. It is pain, we feel it. And we have a lot of people. Sometimes we will say, I lost one thing a long time ago. We remember that's not even a human being. So talk less of somebody who was close to us or who may not have been close to us, who we have issues. Those guilts, they're really massive, and they can, you know, from bereavement, people can develop psychological issues. They can develop illnesses. So that shows how serious it is. And it doesn't mean that they are not people of faith. There are people who have questioned, you know, almost questioned their Lord, that my Rob, why did this happen to me? Not everybody is, you can't tell somebody. I remember my father, may Allah forgive him, when I lost some of my siblings, and he hadn't gone to lead the salat that night. And I called my dad. I said, oh, I thought you'd be in the masjid. He said, no, he didn't go to lead. He was an imam. He didn't go to lead the prayers. And I said, but Dad, the prophet lost children. My daddy cried and told me, Mulkat, I'm not the prophet. And that is so true. It's not the prophet. Even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he lost his son, he was doing Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. He was doing that. I mean, what he wasn't meant to do, but he did it at the time. So we must be very, very, like Barawale also said, that empathy is important. We have to feel it. We have to try to wear people's shoes. Even if we don't know, we don't have to eat donuts to know that it is sweet. So we don't even have to experience, but we have to be in people's spaces. We have to be there. We have to let them, you know, let them express themselves. That's what I'm going to end. But I just want to say to the brother who has asked for prayers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive your father, grant him al-Jannah Firdaus, exempt him from questioning. May Allah grant you resources to do sadaqah on his behalf. May Allah accept you as a child, a good child, that whose sadaqah will be accepted for your father. May Allah help all of us, and may Allah make it easy for us when it is time for us to go. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ajia Moka. I know so many people are mentioning about their parents or lost relatives. We started with the dua for them. Inshallah, we'll round the session up with the dua for them again. So please bear with me. Imam Ajikonle, are you still there? I was wondering if you have any sort of advice for someone who has lost, who's going through bereavement. What sort of dua can they do that can keep them calm, that can help them to cope? If Imam Ajikonle is still there. Otherwise, Alhaji Amode, do you want to round up on your support for the community in just 2 minutes? We are now gone over our time.
Okay. So apart from what we've been doing, we actually give some kind of support as well, and we link them up with the doctors. So in case there's anything, because we have a medical doctor in our team, so you can, you know, advise them on what to do, and then we actually keep company with the families and give them, you know, some kind of advice and put comments on the cards, you know, some something that kind of relieving words or comments on the cards that we give to the, you know, the family who are bereaved. So, and we also advise them that, well, it's one of those things in life. whose turn is it? Allah knows. So we should actually not think about it too much. And then, we should just accept it as Allah actually, that's how Allah wants. So we should accept it, And I think that's kind of maybe advice we give them, and keep company with them and bring them occasionally, from time to time, and we'll visit them on a regular basis to see what their concerns is and others.
Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, you are doing an amazing work supporting members of the community. I just want, maybe this might be the last question. For people, most of us who live in the diaspora, okay, it is an added burden for us if we lose someone at home back in our native country or country of origin, especially close relatives. I always say when you are traveling and you're leaving and you're coming back to your home in the UK, you don't know who you have seen last and you will never see again. So how can we cope? Those of us who are abroad, when we lose someone who's back home, how is it that we can cope with it? Any advice for such? Any member of the panelists?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The way we cope in the diaspora and at home, there isn't really much difference. It depends on our circle of friends or who we speak with, because in our times when we are low, the lifestyle we have in our network determines what happens to us when we are low. But if we are low, the best thing is to reach out if we can, or if one person is aware of it, or if like the work we do here, we all belong to different organizations. If we know that somebody has lost somebody, let us just reach out to them. A telephone call, and we shouldn't have the attitude that we have seen of other people. We say, oh, it's already past 3 days, already past 40 days. I don't want to call them again to remind them. The people you don't want to call have not forgotten, and they will not forget till they die anyway. So let us not have that. Just call, I heard that there was something like this. How are you feeling? I just wanted to ask after you. And you'll be surprised that the day you call, that person is in tears. People have forgotten them. They don't want to be a burden on people. So that's all we can do. And then try to get in touch with people at home. If you are here, they may want to check on you. You may want to check on them. If they don't check on you, please check on them. Remember, keep good memories. Do sadaqah in the name of the person. Like somebody on the call has just sent a message. My father died 7 years ago. Make dua for him. You can tell somebody at work, I'm not feeling good. I'm remembering my father or my mother, or I go to people and say, look, pray for me. Can you check on me, please? I'm not feeling too good. Things like that. Invite people for a cup of tea. It helps, so that they're not always in their house seated. When everybody comes to visit them, they're in the same place. And when you are all gone, the chairs are there empty of people. But you can decide to meet in the park. Just, okay, can we just take a walk? Just for them to, feel a bit better. Above all, it is dua. Allah, make it easy for me. Sometimes when we're in a situation, we don't know what dua to make. So if I visit somebody and say, may Allah make this task easy for you. The advantage of losing somebody is that whilst you are in this state of bereavement, you use this as an opportunity also for you to ask for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what you want. Let's make a list together. What do you want from Allah before this time goes away? Ask Allah for something. Ask Allah for this. Ask Allah for that. Let Allah make it easy for you. Things like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us and preserve us in goodness. Whenever we go, may it be the best time, and may His door of mercy be open to us. May He grant us our Jannah to Firdaus. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My contribution really, just to round up, is for those of us who are abroad, because you are not on the ground to bury your relative, sometimes it's difficult for you to have closure. And that's why the advice given by Ajamnoka is actually very good, that people around them, go and visit them, try to talk to them. Even if you had late, still contact them. But some of the things we have to do, okay, because they are sad, they are remembering what they couldn't have done, how they've been helpless, they are in a sad mood. Encourage them to speak good of their relatives. The Prophet ﷺ was in his mosque when they said somebody died. And people say, oh, he's a bad person, he's a terrible person, good riddance to bad rubbish. He said, wajabat, wajabat, so shall it be, so shall it be. And then a couple of days after, a good person died, and they brought the news to the mosque, and people started saying, oh, he was a good person, he helped this person, he helped that person, he did this good in his life. And the Prophet was looking at them and said, wajabat, wajabat. He said, so shall it be, so shall it be. So some people asking, what is this wajabat, wajabat? You said it for a bad person, you are saying it for a good person. The Prophet ﷺ said, whenever any one of you passes away, the angels go around trying to write down what people are saying about them. If you say good about them, they write it down and they take it to them. They take it to Allah and they use it as a reward for that person. If somebody dies and you are talking ill of them, they take it as punishment and give it to that person. And that is why it is a good, we encourage them to remember the good things about their life. What did they say? What lessons did they learn from them? And to also carry on that message, that lessons that you have learned from your relative, pass it on to the next generation so that your relative gets reward for the legacy that they left behind. It is so a very, very difficult time for someone who has passed on. But let us remember, the person who has gone to reunion with Allah, and the ones who are alive, they are at our mercy to support them and bring them back to life, because their spirit is dying with the person that has died. We need to help them come back to life. Let them remember good things. Let us support. Let us encourage them to do good, because there's nothing you can do for the person who has gone other than to keep them in mind, praying for them and doing good in their name, praying that Allah will give them the reward of their kindness, and then support people that they used to support. Call people and encourage them to speak well of them. So I think this session has been a very useful session, where I want us to pray again for all those who have departed within our community, in our personal lives, all of them together. Allah is so merciful, so powerful. He can sprinkle rewards on all of them right now. Even if they are not in a good shape, Allah will put them in a good shape. Even if they are going through some challenges in the barzakh, Allah can forgive them as a result of the dua that we make for them. Let us once again recite Surah Al-Ikhlas for all of our departed relatives, especially those who have just recently gone. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. May Allah forgive all of them. May Allah grant them Jannat Firdaus. May Allah protect them and safeguard them. All that they have left behind, may Allah keep them safe and strong and on the path of Islam. So alhamdulillah for that. So
sorry, there was a question for Sister Rashida that you said somebody should put there. I don't know if it has been answered, so maybe I don't know how you're going to do it.
Okay, yeah, let's take that question before we round up today.
Oh, okay, it has been
the question is I think someone has answered, but look, for the benefit of those who may not have the opportunity to see or to see the question and the response, I'll just read it out. For Sister Rashida, should one apply for?
I would like to answer the question.
Bismillah.
I'd like to answer the question. The person asks if one should apply for a job requesting work experience, even when you don't have the experience. Maybe you just simply say that you'll be ready to learn. Now, a lot of time, what we don't look at is that we do mostly have what is called transferable skills and experiences. If you look at a job and opening and you feel that it's something you can do, I'm sure if you look deeply into your experience, even the thing that attracted you to that job in the first instance, thinking that you can actually perform the role, you will find that there are things that you might have had in your life, experiences that might not be directly for that particular role, but are transferable experiences or skills. So that's why it's very important when we're preparing, when we're getting ready to apply for a job or preparing our CVs, we look, at the roles and look at our experience, and we can tailor it along the line of what is required of that particular role. But if you now look deeply and you do not have a transferable skill or transferable experience to apply for a particular role that you have seen and you're interested in, then the next thing should be for you to find out how can you actually acquire such a skill or experience, and what are the how long will it take you to do that? And is it possible that this role will be open at another time, or a similar role will be opened at another time? So that's one of the things that we work with people to look at. So transferable skills, transferable experience you can use to actually apply to roles that probably you feel that you might not have the experience to qualify for. Then the second question was what would be the best step to do, to take in expressing feelings of an unsupportive line manager. Now, I think that's when you are already in the role and your line manager is not supportive of you. I think usually it's always good to try and engage in a civilized conversation. That is, if the situation allowed that. But if the situation does not allow that, every organization have got in place procedures and policy on how to handle maybe bullying or complaint within the organization. So that is one other skill or one other approach we must all adopt in either the workplace or where we're looking for jobs. We need to understand the specific organizations we're going to be working with. We need to know what are the things, what are their policies, what are the systems in place for complaining or for dealing with issues, and that would guide you in taking up such unsupportive line manager. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajia. And once again, all of those who have been mentioning about their relatives that have departed, please accept my condolence and continue to pray for them. Inshallah, many of us should also adopt the habit of praying generally for departed souls who are Muslims amongst our friends, relatives, community, and the entire Ummah. So before I hand over to the moderator, our all you will believe today, Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. Oh, you will believe, fear Allah as it should be feared, and do not depart, do not die except as Muslims. So the bereavement we are talking today, as we console ourselves, as we are worried about those who have gone, we also need to pay attention to ourselves. We also need to worry about ourselves. It is at this point in our life that we remember that nothing is more important than living the life of a Muslim and dying as a Muslim. May Allah make all of us to depart this world. The best days of our life should be the day we meet Allah. The best day that we are the best of our Islam, the best, our heart is the strongest on the deen, is the best that for us to take our life. If Allah takes your life at that moment, it doesn't matter whether you live to be 90 or 40. What matters is at what state of mind do you go to Allah, and that are you in your best, and is Allah able to forgive you of all your shortcomings, and Allah able to add you to the company of those who are righteous. So may Allah keep all of us safe on the straight path. May Allah keep us protected and guided. May Allah accept all that we do. May Allah make this count for us on our in our book of good deeds, inshallah, in the Akhirah. So I would like to hand over back to Ajia Fadila Tadabi to sign us off. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan for staying with us. And Sister Rashida, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us this evening. And our panel discussants, Sister Mulkat, Imam Ajikale, Dr. Dawood, I want to thank every one of you for helping us go through how we can manage bereavement. May Allah ease our affairs, and may Allah be with all the families that have lost one or two people within themselves. May Allah make our last day, as you said, our best day when we meet Allah. Until we meet again next week, I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. Bye.
The Old Kent Road Mosque urgently needs your help to complete the new mosque under construction. We need 100 people to loan us £25,000 each, or whatever you can, as Qard Hassan, for the completion of Phase 2. Come forward and help us build the House of Allah, the Old Kent Road Mosque.
Just under 60 seconds, I'm going to tell you why investing in this opportunity will change your life. Are you ready? Start the clock. Over 20 years ago, a group of believers acquired a derelict pub slap bang in the centre of the Old Kent Road. As we've grown, so has our need for space. And we are embarking upon the journey of a lifetime to extend the good work of this masjid. And we need you to join us on this journey. Let me remind you of Allah's promise. Whoever builds a mosque for the sake of Allah, Allah will build for him a house in paradise. And it doesn't stop there. The masjid that we build will continue to give you rewards for as long as it remains standing, perhaps decades after you pass away. Think about all the people who attend the mosque to pray 5 times a day, every single day of the year. The Jummah service that is attended by hundreds of people, the hundreds of youngsters learning how to recite the Quran, and your fellow brothers and sisters breaking their fast in the month of Ramadan, right here in this masjid. Inshallah, you'll get a slice of the reward. All of these and more coming straight to your scale of good deeds. So what are you waiting for? Help us build this masjid.
Sponsor a prayer space and get your friends, neighbours and loved ones to sponsor one too. Or even better, get together and sponsor a whole saf.
And inshallah, watch how Allah elevates you in this life and the next.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان